At the age of 35, some men wake up thinking about business. Some think about their children. But in Kijani village, one full-grown man wakes up every morning thinking about only one thing. "Mama, what are we eating this morning?" The rooster had not even finished its second crow when the shout came from inside a small mud house. "Mama, I'm awake!" The village froze. Birds paused, goats stopped chewing, even the wind seemed embarrassed. That voice belonged to Moses. 35 years old, 6 feet tall, beard on his face, muscles on his arms, and yet still sleeping on the same mat he slept on when he was 10. Inside the kitchen hut, Mama Beatrice jumped up like she had heard a royal command. "My son is awake," she said happily. "Let me warm the food quickly." Outside, neighbors exchanged looks. One woman whispered, "Is that the same Moses who was born before my first child?" Another replied, "Yes, the same Moses who doesn't know where the kitchen is." Moses finally stepped outside, stretching, yawning, scratching his stomach. He looked around like a king inspecting his kingdom. "Mama," he said seriously, "today, don't give me yesterday's food. My stomach feels important." Mama Beatrice smiled proudly. "You see," she told the neighbors, "my son listens to his body." The neighbors listened too and shook their heads. This was not a child. This was not a teenager. This was a 35-year-old baby, and this was just the beginning. If laziness was a job, Moses would be the CEO. Moses's daily routine was very simple. Wake up, eat, complain, sleep again. Repeat. At sunrise, Mama Beatrice brought him food. At midday, she reminded him to eat again. At night, she asked, "Moses, are you tired?" Moses nodded seriously.
"Yes, Mama. Life is hard."
Hard? Other men were farming under the hot sun. Some were building houses. Some were carrying water from far away. Moses was carrying his plate. One day, a neighbor asked him, "Moses, what do you do all day?" Moses thought deeply.
"I manage my energy."
"How?"
"By not wasting it."
The neighbor walked away silently. Even laziness felt insulted. Mama Beatrice defended him everywhere. "My son is not lazy," she said. "He is gentle." Gentle? He once dropped a spoon because it was too heavy. When Mama Beatrice asked him to fetch water, he replied, "But Mama, what if I fall?" Fall where? The well was 5 steps away. This was not love anymore. This was overfeeding irresponsibility. And the village was watching, laughing, whispering, waiting. Some mothers raise children. Others raise men. Mama Beatrice raised a problem. Mama Beatrice loved Moses with her whole heart. Too much heart. 0 breaks. She washed his clothes, chose his outfits, even reminded him to bathe. "Moses," she shouted, "have you brushed your teeth?" Moses replied from his mat, "Later." Later never came. She served him food like a restaurant. "What would you like today, my son?" "Surprise me." Surprise him? The same Moses who panicked when salt was missing? Once she tried to teach him to cook. She handed him a spoon. Moses stared at it. "Mama, is this safe?" Safe? The spoon had cooked food longer than Moses had lived responsibly. She took the spoon back. "I'll do it," she sighed. And that was the problem. She always did it. The village elders started murmuring.
This boy will suffer one day." But Mama Beatrice replied proudly, "My son will never suffer. I am here." She did not know life does not ask permission.
In every African village, there is a well, and near that well, there is gossip. The women gathered at the water well like it was a news station. Did you hear Moses asked his mother what to wear again? At 35? Yes. One woman laughed so hard she spilled water. Another said, if Moses marries, his wife will compete with his mother. No, another replied, she will lose. Children joined the fun. They saw Moses passing and shouted, Uncle Baby! Moses waved proudly. At least someone respected him. Even goats reacted. One goat ran away when Moses entered the kitchen as if danger had arrived. The rooster looked at him every morning like, even I wake up early to work. The village was tired of watching. Something had to happen, and fate was already planning it.
Age is just a number until someone says it out loud. One afternoon, Moses joined a group of men. They were talking about life, marriage, work, responsibility. One man asked casually, Moses, how old are you now? Moses smiled confidently. 35. Silence. Absolute silence. A bird coughed. Someone blinked twice. 35? One man finally spoke. So when will you start life? Moses frowned. What do you mean? I am alive. The men laughed. Not softly, not politely. Proper village laughter. That night, whispers grew louder. This cannot continue. And for the first time, change knocked on Moses' door.
Some men chase dreams. Moses, he chased nothing. But Mama said, today you try. Mama Beatrice clapped her hands one morning. Moses, I found you a job at Mr. Kofi's farm. You must try. Moses yawned. Do I need to wear pants? Yes, and shoes, Mama scolded. He walked into the farm with the confidence of a king entering battle, and the skill of a baby learning to crawl. He carried the hoe like it was a sword. He swung it once and tripped over the handle. Mr. Kofi frowned. You are Moses, ma'am, he said proudly. I manage my energy. I will start tomorrow. Mama Beatrice beamed. See, he's learning responsibility. Mr. Kofi blinked. The goats snickered. By lunchtime, Moses was back home, exhausted from not working at all. Mama Beatrice served him lunch. Good job, my son, she cheered. Moses ate like a champion, proud of doing absolutely nothing. When a 35-year-old tries farming, even the plants panic. Next week, Mama Beatrice insisted Moses try again. This time, you will plant yams. Moses looked at the soil. He looked at the sun. He looked at the goat, probably judging him. He picked up a small stick, pretending it was a farming tool. He poked the soil. The soil did not cooperate. A bird landed on his shoulder. It whispered, "Just give up." By evening, he had dug one tiny hole and tripped over the fence. Mama Beatrice rushed, "Moses, are you okay?" "Yes, Mama," he groaned, lying in the mud. "My body does not want to work today." The neighbors watched from afar, holding their stomachs. Even the goats laughed. Sometimes life knocks. Sometimes life laughs. And sometimes life sends a marriage proposal to a 35-year-old baby. One day, a letter arrived. Mama Beatrice read it aloud. A young woman wishes to marry Moses. Moses looked at Mama. Can she cook? She is very talented. Can she sing the morning song properly? Mama sighed. Yes, she can. Can she... Moses, enough! The young woman came to visit. She crossed her arms, raised an eyebrow.
She looked Moses up and down. "You are really 35?" Moses smiled proudly. "Yes, mature, experienced, very serious." The girl laughed, not politely, not softly, loudly. By the time the visit ended, Mama Beatrice felt proud, the girl felt exhausted, and Moses had learned a new word. Oops. Sometimes villagers gather, not for advice, but for entertainment. The village elders gathered under the baobab tree. "We must discuss Moses," Old Man Kofi said. "His mother spoils him. He is a problem." Moses sat nearby, eating roasted yams and watching them like a king observing peasants. One elder whispered, "Will he ever take responsibility?" Another chuckled, "I think goats are more responsible." The council decided to give Moses a task. Mama Beatrice gasped, "No, he cannot do that alone." Moses smiled. "Task? I am ready. Maybe tomorrow." The elders sighed. The goats laughed. One morning, Mama Beatrice felt dizzy. She could not cook. She could not fetch water. She could not even call Moses without collapsing. Moses woke up to an empty kitchen. No food, no mama, no plan. "Mama?" he called. Nothing. He looked around. The rooster looked smug. The goat laughed. Panic set in. For the first time in 35 years, Moses realized something terrifying. Life was hard without Mama. He tried to fetch water. He spilled half. He tried to cook. The yams caught fire. Mama Beatrice peeked from her bed. "My son, survive a little. I am watching." Moses cried silently, but inside, a tiny seed of responsibility had planted, and the village whispered, "Could it be? Is Moses changing?" Some men cook to impress. Some men cook to survive. Moses, he cooked to avoid hunger. Mama Beatrice gave Moses a small pot. "Today, you will cook," she said firmly. Moses stared at the pot like it was a dangerous snake. "How do I use this?" "Just follow the steps," Mama scolded. He boiled water and forgot to put the pot on the stove. He added salt before adding water, and he dropped one egg on the floor, directly onto the goat's nose. The goat sneezed. The egg flew into Moses' face. "Mama," Moses cried, "this is impossible." Mama Beatrice sighed. "Impossible? You just have to try." After 1 hour of chaos, the pot was half burned. The goat was full. Moses smelled like chaos. Yet he felt proud. "I am learning, Mama, slowly." The village kids watched from the fence. "Uncle Baby is finally cooking," they laughed. Even the rooster shook its head. It was a disaster, but a start. That evening, Moses refused to eat the burned yams. Mama Beatrice was tired of cleaning. "No more food," she said. Moses' stomach growled, loudly. He tried to drink water, spilled half on the floor. The neighbors watched. "Finally, hunger teaches him," whispered Old Man Kofi. Moses crawled to the kitchen, saw the empty pot, and gasped. "What have I done?" The rooster crowed like a judge. Even the goats seemed disappointed. By nightfall, Moses finally understood. If Mama is not here, you must survive. It was the first tiny spark of responsibility. Some people start big. Moses started tiny. The next morning, Moses tried again. He boiled water successfully, added salt correctly, and managed not to burn the pot. Mama Beatrice peeked from the doorway. "You did it?" she whispered.
Yes, Moses said proudly. I can do it. The neighbors clapped from the fence. The goat nodded approvingly. Even the rooster crowed like an alarm for celebration. It was small, but for Moses it was a victory worth a feast. For the first time he realized maybe he doesn't need Mama for everything.
Sometimes parents watch too much. And finally, they realize. Mama Beatrice noticed something strange. Moses was cooking without screaming, dropping, or calling for help. She blinked. Is this really my son? He plated the yams neatly. He even served water without spilling. The village whispered from the fence. Could it be? Has Uncle Baby changed? Mama Beatrice smiled and felt proud, but also a little scared. Her baby might actually grow up.
Some men go to the gym. Some men go to school. Moses went to life boot camp. Over the next week, Moses learned to fetch water without spilling, learned to chop firewood without hitting himself, learned to cook without burning the kitchen. Every attempt, hilarious. One day, the goat stole a yam and ran around Moses. Another day, he slipped on spilled water and landed in a mud puddle. And one morning, he dropped salt on his head like snow. Mama Beatrice laughed and cried at the same time. Neighbors gathered for daily entertainment. By the end of the montage, Moses was tired, but alive and functioning. For the first time in 35 years, the village saw the glimmer of responsibility, and the rooster still judged him. Respect doesn't run. It walks slowly and only stops when effort is real. The village noticed something strange. Moses was a weight before the rooster. People rubbed their eyes. He carried water without spilling it. He greeted elders without yawning. He even helped repair a broken fence. The goats froze. Is that Moses? Old man Kofi leaned up his stick. The boy is changing. Moses felt it too. For the first time in his life, people weren't laughing first. They were watching. Mama Beatrice stayed quiet. She folded her hands and whispered, "Let him grow." And Moses stood taller than he ever had. Growth is real, until temptation calls your name. One morning, Moses woke up tired. The sun was hot. The mat was comfortable. He opened his mouth and almost shouted, "Mama!" Silence. Mama Beatrice didn't answer. Moses froze. He swallowed his words, sat up, took a deep breath. "No," he muttered. "I can do this." Outside, the rooster nodded slowly. The goat stopped chewing. That moment was harder than farming, and Moses passed the test. Barely.
When support steps away, truth steps forward. Mama Beatrice gathered her cloth bag. "I'm visiting my sister for a few days," she said calmly. Moses blinked. Alone? Yes, alone. The village held its breath. This was it. Day 1. Moses cooked, burned nothing. Day 2. Fetched water, spilled only a little. Day 3. Cleaned the house. The goat stared in disbelief. By day 4, Moses didn't panic anymore. He worked, he ate, he slept. Like a man. With Mama gone, Moses faced life head-on. He joined farmers in the fields, sweated, laughed, learned. He earned his first small payment. Coins in his palm felt heavier than food. That night, Moses smiled to himself. This is life. The village noticed. Children stopped calling him Uncle Baby. They just called him Moses. And that meant everything.
A boy is protected. A man is prepared. Mama Beatrice returned home. She smelled food. Good food. Moses stood at the fire, stirring calmly. "Sit down, Mama," he said gently. "I cooked." She sat. She tasted. Her eyes filled with tears. Not sadness, pride. That night, Moses woke up. The rooster crowed. Moses smiled and said to himself, "What am I cooking this morning?" The goat cheered. The village slept peacefully. The boy was gone. A man remained.